Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another NSL live talk. And we are chatting here a little bit in the middle of a training camp of Vega XP, the new lineup, incomplete. Somebody is missing.
Andre's out having a good time. We're not sure where he is.
Yeah, Andre van Heerden is actually the fourth team member, but it's not only that you're only three, and I'm not in the team, unfortunately. The fourth member here is also missing. He's boycotting the conversation. Coach Niklas Hamlin is here with you. How did you find him as an alternate?
I think it just worked out pretty well. We needed to start training. We needed to start learning one another. Andre has a new slot, so he needed to get going on that. And this camp, we hadn't spent no time with James, so we decided to leverage ask him if he was willing to, and then leverage the opportunity to improve our flying, but just sort of start getting the team dynamic together with maybe a more consistent person in the mix, right? Like you can see a lot and you can feel a lot, so that when we all get together at the next camp, maybe some of the rough edges that we weren't feeling or even aware of have kind of been ironed out or identified.
And we covered the new lineup already. As if I remember correctly, we have spent some time on Zoom already, right?
Yeah.
Last time, and it's nice that we're back to actually live talk, which is there's such a different world now. Everything on the Zoom, but now here we are in training and talking live. So the new lineup we knew already about, and here's Mr. James Hall, live in person. So it's great if we can talk to each other actually now with the new members now directly. James, you were here before not too long ago for a different purpose.
Yes.
There was a tryout for...
Yeah. I was very fortunate. I got a call to come try out for Rhythm earlier this year. Yeah. It was an awesome experience. It was an honor to be invited, and I had a good time, and I think they made a great choice.
They didn't, because they didn't pick you.
I think they're doing really well with Christy.
That looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Were you very sad or disappointed?
Well, sure, yeah, I was disappointed, but I certainly, given the circumstances and where everybody's at and schedules, etc., I think they made a great choice, and I think Christy's doing an awesome job for him.
And you looked very good at the tryout, so I thought, wow, look at James, new slot. And I mean, kind of new, also. But now you're again in a new slot. Explain that to us quickly. New slot, new piece partner.
Well, no, actually, the OC slot is what I flew with Redline in 2019. So
Okay.
that's what I'm doing with Vega here. So this is pretty familiar territory, but. Yeah, it's a new piece partner, completely new dynamic, and we're sorting it out and having a good time doing it.
Yeah, let's talk about this a little bit, because that's always very interesting, I think. If you're coming from different teams, then the team has to find something new. We cannot just say, this is Vega, and we have two original Vega members here. And now we're going to do things like it was with Vega. That doesn't work usually, especially not with a total new lineup. So we have two new members. Mm-hmm. So what's the strategy? What have you already? Is there something that you would point out at this point in time? This is totally different compared to what we were doing, and this is also different than it was with Redline or other teams before. Let's talk about that a little bit. That's interesting.
Wind speed.
Wind speed.
Yes.
Faster, slower?
Slower.
Slower.
Yeah. Substantial.
Oh, you're happy about that, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
The difference between myself and our fastest flyer on our old lineup was a lot more substantial.
You were wearing what, 28 pounds?
I was wearing 26 pounds and flying like this.
Yeah.
So one of Coach Nick's goals for these first few camps was getting our wind speed down and my body flying itself versus just throwing around on high speed air. So there's been a big difference in that. And I think it helps with the new lineup that we've got a consistent coach and have the same coach that we as Vega had the end of last year. Actually, all of last year, all of 2020.
And it's very different, but I'm sure it's a lot easier for you than at the same time. Not only different, right? I mean, it's better different.
It is just because it's a lot easier to fly and do what I'm supposed to be doing
Right.
instead of just kind of throwing my body around and trying to. I mean, not only is it hard to initiate that much extra weight, it's harder to stop it. And so it's a matter of survival when it's that higher wind speed, and now it's a big difference on my body just actually being able to fly. So it is easier.
Yeah, it's physically much less work too, right? I mean, I know what you're talking about. They don't. They really literally don't know how, what the difference is unless you have really packed up once, and it is physically just way more challenging and exhausting than it is with less weight, but people don't really know that. So, it's difficult to sympathize or empathize with that.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I'm very happy for you. So you're down to 10 pounds now?
No, I'm still wearing 20 pounds.
20 still.
But the biggest difference is the wind speed, because I'm actually able to fly my body. So the 6 pounds does make a little bit of a difference, but the bigger difference is not trying to keep so much pressure on the column of air. Like I can actually fly a more neutral body position in the first place.
Yeah. I think that, sitting from the outside, like one of the two big things have changed, and it's not really technique. Is with any Nick and original teammate Nick and myself together for so long, and even with Brandon and myself for 2 years, you kind of build bad habits with your peace partner, right? And you start to not even realize they're there anymore. And one of the things I've seen in this shake-up with Andre and myself, and certainly with the front piece, and a lot of the work that Hamlin has done with you, and I know with you as well, is we're seeing that our new peace partners don't let us get away with our old bad habits, right? And they have their own things as well. Like we all have things that we're working on, but it's kind of a nice opportunity to reset and break your comfort zone a little bit and realize just because I was comfortable doesn't mean I was doing it the right way. It was just kind of working with the person that's flying. I don't know how you two feel.
No, totally.
Yeah, I heard a lot of that, especially I heard a lot of that happening in your briefings and preparations, conversation, communication within the piece. And that is, obviously a very important thing, right? The teams learn that it's communication. And it's not always easy, right? I mean, you have team dynamics where you feel like, I don't know, can I say this now? And how do I say it? And all those kind of things. So that's a whole relearning process, I guess.
Yeah, and I think we just kind of fell into it by scheduling conflicts. But I think that doing the first couple of camps and having Nicholas in the lineup has been really advantageous because he's able to firsthand see and feel what's going on in each block. And whenever Andre was here for the last camp, Nicholas was up in the front piece with Annie, and then now I'm here, so he's back in the back piece with Ian, and so he's getting to see a picture that most coaches wouldn't if we had all been here for both camps.
Right.
Yeah, and then being in both pieces, so that's.
Yeah, we've taken an equal opportunity to disappoint him in every scene. No, he's been great though. I really like that a lot. As far as the communication goes, obviously this is our first camp with James, so there's some learning going on there. But I think overall, my opinion is that the lineup is mature and has been on teams before and understands that open communication is healthy and good. I haven't seen any instances where presentation has been bad, and I don't. Maybe I'm being naive, but I don't really anticipate any issues there because we all have the same goal, right? And having Hamlin as a consistent coach takes out all the opinions about how something should be done, and they become questions, right? Like, oh, I feel this or I'm feeling that, like, what do you think? And then it just becomes like a much easier conversation than four people who don't have that same skill level but all have an opinion on how they think something should go, right? And we've never been on a team where we haven't had a coach. We haven't had consistent coaching. That's been really bad for us. But so I have no idea what other teams have been like. But I certainly like just sort of deferring to the expert and be like, okay.
That's nice.
Yeah, James, you had the player coach experience heavily, with Redline, right?
I have, yeah.
You had one consistently all the time.
Yes.
In the same slot,
yes.
in the same piece.
Right. And that was, I did 2 player coach teams, and both with Kirk Werner. And it's a really nice experience. I like the player coach format, but there's pros and cons to everything, and at some point it's nice to just get on an all-player team.
Yeah, and eventually you will fall out of eligibility in the advanced class at least. Or if you're winning too often, you have already won once.
That would be the best scenario that could happen, is not be eligible to be in.
But you could win again. Because,
I could. Yes.
Yeah. Andre hasn't won.
Right.
So he's eligible. James, the only candidate who would affect the eligibility, and after this year, hopefully all of us will affect the eligibility.
Yeah.
You never know. You never know who's going to show up, but it is. I feel this is the strongest lineup we've had. Whether that turns into anything like into a medal, those are good, nice things to have, but not the goal. Right, the goal is to get better.
There you go.
It's kind of a strange thing to say or to define that anyway. In any part of your life, it would be strange if you expressed your goal. It's like, I'm trying to lose eligibility.
It's
well, you are very special also in another way. This group, especially this group here, because you're all family people, kids and families, including Nick. His boy, his young man. He's packing parachutes for him, and he is, and then he has other family members here. And you are making it, even bringing it to another extreme. You're bringing them here, and they are playing around the corner now, and they are part of your vagabond life. How do you manage that?
I have an Annie.
Talk about the mommy. Well, a lot of love, that I know.
A lot of patience and a little acceptance that we're all humans and don't do it right all the time, but we try hard. But they've been raised on a drop zone, whether it was back when Ian was on the canopy piloting circuit and we were his little groupies, and then when we got into 4-way together, family's huge to us, and so we homeschool. We always
homeschool them.
Yeah, and I don't know. They're our little shadows. They just go everywhere we do. So they're used to it.
The homeschooling decision was an interesting one, because when Annie first proposed it, like she said, it was on the canopy piloting days. And I was like, absolutely not, that's insane. Like, it's going to grow up to be like social recluses, and I just didn't really know anything about it. And she educated me on what it would be, and it's allowed us some very unique between how fortunate I am with what my job allows me to do as far as travel, and then having that kind of mindset in Annie's education philosophy has really helped us in ways that I think we wouldn't have been able to do this kind of thing otherwise, or at least if we did, it would be far more recreational than it is now. And that doesn't mean that this isn't recreational, right? But like, it would have been more sort of like turn up kind of when we could, and maybe do something, and now we can actually have a really good schedule and attract talent like James and Andre, where it's not just like, hey, do you want to get around and kind of maybe like sort of possibly do something. Like, we can have some really good defined high goals.
Lovely. James, you're managing your family affairs a little bit different. You have two younger kids, right?
Yeah, I have two younger kids and one older kid. Renee lives in Utah, and so she's kind of off doing her own thing. And then I have a...
How old is she now?
She's 20.
Oh, she's 20.
Yeah, and Nicholas is at home going to school, and Ella has got daycare, so she's 10 months. Nicholas will be 5 years old on Tuesday, So happy birthday, Nicholas.
Happy birthday, Nicholas.
That's awesome.
And you're working from home, right, mostly, or?
Well, I have an office, but it's very flexible, and so I do often work from home as well. So I can work when I'm on the road, and yeah, it's flexible enough to allow me to do what I want to do with skydiving.
Well, I know you have to go back and fly a little bit with the boss who is probably taking a nap now or having coffee.
Nursing some more fresh injuries, I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
Well, I hope I will see some anyway. I hope I can steal some videos of some of the training.
Sure.
And then show the audience where Vega is at the moment on the way to wherever. Good luck with everything. Have fun, and thanks for taking the time in between.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Karen.
Thanks.